AITA for canceling my wedding after my fiancée left to care for her sick ex? I never thought I'd be the one writing something like this, but the truth is I'm completely shattered, and my head is a total mess. It's hard to accept that this is actually happening to me. It feels like a story about someone else, but I'm the one living it. I need to get this out, to say it out loud, even if it's just by writing it down, because the pressure in my chest is so intense it feels like I could burst at any moment. Just a few hours ago, the woman I was about to marry dropped a bombshell that's still ringing in my ears. She wants to postpone the wedding. She didn't say she doesn't love me anymore, or that our relationship was failing, or that she was having doubts. Her reason, she claimed, is that her ex-boyfriend is seriously ill, and that on some level, a part of her heart still belongs to him. As I write this, I can feel my hands shaking, my whole body trembling. I honestly can't comprehend how, after everything we've been through and everything we've built, she could say something like that to me with such apparent calm. The wedding was only 3 weeks away. 3. Absolutely everything was already arranged. The venue was booked, the invitations had been mailed, our honeymoon was planned, the tuxes were fitted, the flowers were chosen. Every last detail was finalized. We had been together for 4 years, and to me, Maya wasn't just my girlfriend. She was the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I met her at a small coffee shop in our neighborhood. She was working as a barista while finishing up her degree in graphic design. And, if I'm being honest, I started going there every single day with the excuse of needing coffee, when really, I just wanted to see her. It wasn't just how beautiful she was, although she was stunning. What truly captivated me was the way she talked, her easy laugh, and her unique way of looking at the world. She had a natural sweetness about her, an empathy you could feel from a mile away, and a heart that seemed boundless. From the moment we started talking, I felt incredibly lucky that someone like her had even noticed me. In those 4 years, we went through everything, like any couple, but we also faced some really tough times together. I especially remember when her parents ran into serious financial trouble with their small business. Without a second thought, I did everything I could to help them. I lent them money, even dipping into my own personal savings to help them cover their debts. I never once held it over her. I did it because I loved her, and seeing her find some peace of mind was worth more to me than any number in a bank account. I was also there for her when she lost her job and went through a period where she felt useless, like she had no value. I did my best to be her emotional support, to remind her of who she was and how much she was worth. I always tried to be her rock, her safe place. A year ago, I decided to propose during a trip we took to the Rocky Mountains, a place she had always dreamed of seeing in the fall. She would talk about the golden aspens, the clear lakes, and the crisp mountain air like it was a magical land. So I saved up for months, planned every detail meticulously, and when we were standing in front of Dream Lake, with the mountains reflecting perfectly on the water under a clear blue sky, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She burst into tears, threw her arms around me, and said yes. Without a doubt, it was one of the happiest days of my entire life. From that day on, it was all excitement and wedding preparations. We had a date, a venue, a guest list. Everything was moving forward. Our parents were thrilled, and our families were excited. It felt like nothing could possibly go wrong. Until this morning, when I walked into our bedroom and saw a scene that made my blood run cold. There were folded clothes on the bed, an open suitcase next to it, and Maya standing there with a nervous look that made it clear something was terribly wrong. You could see she was mentally rehearsing what she was about to say. I asked her what she was doing, and in a quiet voice, she delivered the phrase nobody ever wants to hear. "Jacob, we need to talk. I hope you can understand." In that instant, I felt something inside me just snap. That phrase never brings good news, and I knew it right away. I sat down on the edge of the bed, still not processing anything, and she began to explain. She told me she'd gotten an unexpected call that morning. Her ex-boyfriend, Rick, the one she had told me about years ago, was very sick. He'd been diagnosed with liver cirrhosis, and his doctors had said his condition was critical. I was frozen, not so much because of the illness, but because this man was somehow still a part of our story. When we first started dating, she had told me that her past relationship with him had been a nightmare. She described a troubled, controlling guy with a volatile temper. He drank too much. Guilt tripped her for everything, and manipulated her emotionally with lines like, "If you leave me, I can't live without you." Early in our relationship, he had harassed her constantly with messages, calls, and by showing up at her work. She showed me some of the texts. "You'll always be mine. No one will ever love you like I do. You'll come back to me one day." It was relentless. I remember one night in particular when I had to go over to her apartment building because he was waiting for her outside. I confronted him, and things got tense. It's not something I'm proud of, but at that moment, it felt like the only way to make it clear to him that he had to stay away. After that incident, he seemed to disappear. Or so I thought. Maya assured me at the time that she had cut off all contact with him. That chapter was closed for good. I trusted her completely. I never had a reason not to. But now, for years later, she was telling me she needed to leave for a few months to take care of him. According to her, he was all alone. His family had turned their backs on him, and there was no one else to step in. I finally managed to reply, barely able to process her words. "What are you saying?" I asked her. "You seriously want to go take care of the guy who did so much damage to you? The alcoholic who used to stalk you?" She looked down, her voice trembling. "I know, Jacob, but he's very sick. He has no one. I can't just leave him like this." "You can't leave him like this," I repeated, trying to keep my voice steady. "And what about our wedding and everything we've planned?" "We'll have to postpone it," she said, still avoiding my eyes. "It will only be for a few months. The treatment is long, but he needs someone there with him." At that moment, I felt something inside me truly break. It wasn't just about postponing the wedding. It was the calmness with which she said it, as if the decision had been made long before she ever told me. My voice rose, almost beyond my control. "Do you realize what you're saying? That man made your life miserable. He made you suffer. He manipulated you, and he harassed you. Now he gets sick from his own lifestyle choices, and you want to drop everything to go take care of him? And on top of that, you say a part of your heart still belongs to him? That is the most absurd thing I have ever heard." She moved closer and tried to take my hand. "Jacob, please, try to understand. It will only be for a few months. I'm not breaking up with you. I just need to help him. This is a test for us, for our love. If we can get through this, we'll come out stronger." I was silent for a few seconds, a lump forming in my throat. "A test," I said. "You think canceling our wedding to leave with your ex is a test? In what world does that make any sense?" She sighed, as if she had her answers rehearsed. "I know it sounds bad, but he was a part of my life, too. Everything I went through with him taught me how to appreciate what I have with you. In a way, without him, we wouldn't exist." That line took my breath away. What is that supposed to mean? She was quiet for a moment, and when she looked at me again, I saw something different in her eyes. It wasn't just sadness anymore, it was guilt. "The truth is," she said, her voice barely a whisper, as if the words themselves were heavy, "I've kept in touch with him." I felt it in my stomach, like a punch. "What did you just say?" "Don't take it the wrong way, please," she said quickly. "Nothing has happened between us, nothing physical. We just talk from time to time." "From time to time," I repeated in disbelief. "Since when?" "For years." I just stood there staring at her, unable to react. The silence between us grew thick and heavy. She continued, as if she needed to get it all out at once. "When we would argue, or when I felt like there was tension between us, he would text me. He always found a way to check in. He would listen. He'd give me advice. He was like a friend." A bitter laugh escaped me. "A friend? The same guy who harassed you, who insulted you, who told you that you belonged to him. That's your idea of a friend." Her eyes filled with tears. "It wasn't something I planned, I swear. At first, I didn't answer him. I tried to ignore him, but he was so persistent, and over time I realized I couldn't completely hate him." "So, all this time, you were talking to him behind my back while we were planning our wedding?" I said, my throat burning. "Yes, but not like you think. Nothing else ever happened, just messages. He knew I was with you, that I love you, and he never tried anything. But now he's sick. I can't just pretend he doesn't exist." I didn't know whether to scream, or break something, or just laugh at how completely absurd it all was. I felt the floor drop out from under me. And what am I supposed to do? Just wait here while you go take care of that man? Wait patiently for you to decide to come back? She looked at me, tears streaming down her face. "I don't know. I just know that I have to do this. It's not about choosing between you two. It's something I need to do for myself. My response was filled with a cold anger. It's not for you, it's for him. Because deep down, you still feel something for him. She shook her head, but wouldn't meet my gaze. I'm sorry, but a part of my heart is his, and that's not going to change. When she said that, I felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. I stood there, motionless, like I had been completely disconnected from the inside. She zipped her suitcase, walked over to me, and tried to touch my face. I pulled away. Please, don't hate me, she said through her sobs. This isn't the end. I just need to do this. Maya, I replied, my voice flat. You just destroyed everything. She hung her head, picked up her suitcase, and walked out the door. And so here I am now, writing this, trying to make sense of how a woman who said she loved me, who dreamed of building a family with me, could leave me 3 weeks before our wedding to take care of the man who nearly broke her. I don't know if what I feel is anger or just profound sadness. There's a giant hole in my chest. A part of me wants to believe she'll come back, full of regret, but another part of me knows that even if she did, nothing would ever be the same. I have no idea what to do now, whether to try and salvage some of our plans, cancel everything, or just disappear for a while. The only thing I know for sure is that tonight, for the first time in years, I feel completely and utterly alone. Update. A week has passed since my world fell apart, and just when I thought I'd hit rock bottom, I found out I was wrong. There's no easy way to describe what these last few days have been like. Long, quiet, and empty. I've barely slept, hardly eaten, and have had zero energy for anything. My mind just keeps replaying the same thought over and over. Years of planning, all gone in a matter of minutes. When she left, there were still 2 weeks until the wedding, but at that point, nothing made sense anymore. The day after she walked out, I spent hours just staring at her wedding dress, which was still hanging in our closet. She had insisted on keeping it there, saying that seeing it every day made our new life together feel closer. Now, that dress just looked like a cruel joke hanging in front of me. It took me 2 days to find the strength to start canceling everything. I called the venue coordinator first. The woman who answered recognized my voice and sounded cheerful, thinking I was calling to confirm final details. When I told her I needed to cancel, there was a long, awkward silence, followed by a quiet, "I'm so sorry to hear that, sir." Then came the other calls, the photographer, the florist, the hotel for our reservations, one by one. In every conversation, I repeated the same line. The wedding is not going to happen. And with each time I said it, I felt a little more of me shut down. I also called my parents. My mom started crying, and my dad just let out a heavy sigh. They knew how much I loved her and how much I'd invested in this, not just money, but time, hope, and effort. I asked them not to bring it up too much, that I just needed some space. I tried to get in touch with Maya's parents. At first, they had no idea what had happened. Her mother called me the next day, worried because she couldn't reach her. When I explained the situation, she was silent for a long time, and then, in a broken voice, she said she couldn't believe her daughter would do something like that. Her father texted me later, furious, saying he couldn't understand how she could abandon her life for a man who had destroyed her, and he even apologized to me for his daughter's foolishness. I didn't know what to say back. I just told them I would handle canceling everything and that I hoped she was okay, even though deep down, I had a feeling she wasn't. During that whole week, Maya didn't answer a single call, not from me, not from her parents, not from her friends. It was as if she had dropped off the face of the earth. I sometimes caught myself checking to see when she was last online, waiting for a message that never came. I know it sounds pathetic, but your heart doesn't always listen to your pride. A week went by, and yesterday, just when I thought I was at least managing to stay on my feet, everything collapsed again. I got home from work, exhausted after a horrible day. My co-workers didn't know what to say to me, and their silent pity was almost unbearable. All I wanted was to get home, take a shower, and go to sleep. But when I opened the door, the first thing I saw was an open suitcase and Maya taking things out of it. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating. I just stood there, staring at her in silence, trying to figure out what was happening. She looked up when she heard me come in. Her face was a mixture of guilt and fear, like she already knew what was coming. I didn't say hello or ask how she was. The first thing that came out of my mouth, without any filter, was, "What the hell are you doing here, Maya? And what happened to your ex?" "The alcoholic," She immediately looked down and started to cry. I made a mistake, Jacob, she said between sobs. He is sick, but he treated me horribly, and he's still drinking. In spite of everything, I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. Incredible. The guy who was a miserable alcoholic years ago turns out to be exactly the same. What a shock. Nobody could have seen that coming, right? She started crying harder. You don't have to be so cruel. I know I was stupid, but I did it out of affection, for a love from my past. Maya, I replied, no longer trying to soften my words. You couldn't be more naive if you tried. She looked at me, her eyes red and hurt. Stop it. Just leave me alone. You don't understand. You don't have the heart to care about someone who isn't you. That's when I really lost it. If that someone is dying from his own poor choices, then no, I don't. And if you think that makes you a better person, fine, but don't come looking for sympathy here. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing. I came back because we still have time. The wedding is in a week. We can fix this. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. I walked slowly towards her and touched her cheek, my hand feeling colder than I expected. That wedding isn't happening. I canceled it days ago. Did you really not know? She went completely still. Then she shoved me, hard. What did you do? How could you cancel it? No, Maya, you canceled it the day you decided to leave with that guy. I just made it official. So do me a favor, pack up the rest of your things and get out of this apartment. She screamed at me, full of rage. This is my apartment too. That's strange, I replied calmly, because I don't remember you paying a single month of rent in 3 years. So no, it's not. Get your clothes and leave. She broke down completely, her sobs getting louder as she began pushing at my chest with her hands, saying things that made no sense. I gently but firmly held her by her arms to get her to calm down and looked her straight in the eye. Why are you crying now? I said, my voice dripping with irony. Isn't this what you wanted? You're free to go be with him now. Maybe if you give him another chance, he'll change this time. I let her go and took a step back. She stood there for a moment, as if in shock. Then, still crying, she grabbed her things and ran out. The door slammed shut behind her, and the sound echoed through the entire apartment. A few moments later, I heard voices outside in the hallway. I looked through the peephole and saw a couple of neighbors peeking out of their doors. A woman from down the hall called out to me. What did you do to her? She was crying all the way down the stairs. I looked at her with a cold expression. Mind your own business. She quickly went back into her apartment without another word. That night was filled with a heavy silence, the only sounds being the hum of the refrigerator and my own thoughts. I checked my phone and saw I had several messages. Most were from her parents. Her mother was asking me to please talk to her, not to leave her all alone. Her father, on the other hand, told me not to forgive her, that she needed to face the consequences of her actions. I didn't reply to any of them. I had nothing left to say. Today, as I write this, I still can't understand how someone can destroy so much in such a short amount of time. It wasn't just a wedding. It was years of trust, affection, and shared effort. And the hardest part is admitting that if she had come back before I canceled everything, I might have caved. I might have tried to fix it, even though it was hurting me. But not now. Now, there's just a huge, empty space where our future used to be. I don't want to see her, or hear her voice, or remember the way she sounded when she told me she loved me. I guess this is the price you pay for idealizing someone, for thinking that love can justify anything. Maybe one day she'll understand what she lost, or maybe she won't. It's not my problem anymore. I made a mistake too, believing that love was enough to save everything. It isn't. Now, all I want to do is move forward. Even if it hurts, even if every corner of this apartment reminds me of her, I know the worst is over. And if this whole ordeal has taught me anything, it's this. When someone tells you that a part of their heart belongs to someone else, you have to believe them. Because sooner or later, that part ends up destroying everything. Comment. I wanted to share a few thoughts after that story because it touches on something deeply human. Your kindness is a gift, not an obligation to endure pain. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is about protecting your peace of mind. You cannot build a future with someone whose heart is still stuck in the past. Ultimately, you are responsible for your own healing and happiness. It is not your job to fix someone, especially if they are breaking you in the process. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is let go of what is hurting you. Choosing your peace is not selfish. It is essential for your well-being. Always remember to be as kind to yourself as you are to others. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.